Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show, I have Jason Tindol, who is a school superintendent and real estate enthusiast and investor out of the Vancouver, Washington area. I'll have to travel out there sometime. Jason, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Before we hopped on here, I was mentioning, anytime someone gives a ringing endorsement for any area of the world that I haven't been or that I didn't know about, now I have the bug to go. And you were saying it's 74 degrees on average out there, so I don't know why I thought it would be freezing cold out there.
No, it's a beautiful, beautiful area. In the mountains, it's a lot colder, and in the mountains, it's more snow and more severe weather. But we're nestled in between the Columbia River, the Pacific Ocean, and the Cascade Mountains. So we're kind of in the heart of a beautiful country.
I gotta say, what speaks very loudly in your bio was, I don't know how anyone could be busier than you. I imagine you got to be so busy. I imagine between having a real estate portfolio and also being a school superintendent, that sounds like 8 jobs. How does anyone manage that?
Yeah, well, I think I love education. So education is my passion, and when you do what you love, it doesn't feel as much like work. And then real estate is something I like. Uh, I like doing it. I started it, years ago, and we just kept with it. And it's allowed me to stay in education. So I've been in education for 28 years and started off as a history teacher. You just heard our bells. Start off as a history teacher, and then athletic director, then principal, and now superintendent of a private school district here in Vancouver, Washington. So I do stay busy, but it's a good busy, and I think that's part of real estate that I think people can get to. What I mean by can get to is if you manage it the right way, you really don't have to do much. That doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean that you don't have problems, but you can manage it correctly and still do what you feel you're called to do in life.
Wow. I feel like every time I talk to someone in the education space, I feel like saying, thank you. Because I know it takes a specific type of person to carve out a career in that space, to be effective, to not just, collect a check, but to provide value in a difficult job. So truly, from me to you, thank you so much for what you do for raising the next generation of leaders really in our country. It's incredible. And so when I'm pairing that with being a real estate entrepreneur, still is incredible to me, because it's, in a lot of ways, there's probably some similarities, there's probably a lot of differences, but I can imagine one of the big similarities is being a problem solver. And so how has that panned out for you in your career?
Yeah, I think anytime you're in business, whether it's real estate or education, uh, if you know how to solve problems, then your organization or your portfolio is going to benefit from that. Because every day the problems are new. It's, every day there are operations that you do that you can't get around. It's just the same thing every day.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And those folks make really good managers, but people who are able to do the day to day and navigate around the different challenges, now you're getting into leadership. And so leaders are able to be great problem solvers. And, and honestly, it's not just being able to be great problem solvers that you made the right decision. In fact, most of the time, it's you've made the wrong decision enough to where you can make the right decision in the future. And so
Yeah.
you just develop that experience of solving problems.
Let's pivot a bit here and talk about two tracks, but also how they're run in parallel. So you started off as a history teacher. At that point, did you know that one day I'm gonna be a superintendent? At that point, was it in your mind somewhere, or was it taken a day by day, year by year type of career approach?
Yeah, no. So in seventh grade, I knew I wanted to get an education, and I'm kind of an achiever, so I had a suspicion that I probably would be a school principal at some point. But ironically, I was a terrible middle schooler. So I wasn't well behaved and I didn't make my grades weren't great. But I've always had that entrepreneurial mind and always, had some of that vision. And so it takes vision to be an educator if you want to be a leader in education. And it takes vision in real estate if you want to be someone that has a portfolio that you can, utilize and grow over time and manage over time and create niches and create vision and try to gain traction in that area as well.
Yeah, I mean, wow. So for folks who are listening to this and thinking, well, I have enough difficulty uh, managing my part-time job in my real estate portfolio, and then they hear you talking about scaling in one career, which is certainly heavily time intensive, and then also doing real estate. How did this happen? What was the beginning phases like? Help us make sense of what sounds like a Herculean effort. Of course, you're passionate about it, but to get a deal in real estate, to manage it while also having a career in real estate spanning, decades, is a lot of work. So what was the first real estate deal like, and how did that deal happen?
Well, I think it started with just, you have to be a learner. You have to be someone that enjoys learning. And you have to, I think, first invest in yourself. Investing in yourself looks different to different people, but for me, investing in myself meant reading, and I'm an avid reader, and so I read a lot. Early on, I read Dave Ramsey. I'm from the Nashville area, so I was aware of Dave Ramsey when he was a little bit more local and just
Hmm.
starting out. And obviously since then I've left his thought process. I mean, he's great. But to me, when it comes to real estate, I'm not going to be paying cash for everything. And so I've kind of left that. And then Rich Dad, Poor Dad was a huge, I call.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors. and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Robert Kiyosaki, my godfather, but he doesn't know it yet. So he's someone that really has revolutionized my family tree forever. And again, he doesn't know that yet. I think one time he liked my post, and so that made my day. It was probably some bot that liked it. But it's something that, through the reading, I just kind of was challenged with the thought process of, I think we might want to look at this, the idea of passive income and the idea of portfolio income and the idea of earned income, and how every April 15th, which of course was yesterday, if you're an earned income earner, you felt the pain pretty bad
Yeah.
yesterday. And so with my real job, I felt the pain yesterday. But with my passive income through real estate and my portfolio income through, whatever assets, I didn't feel any pain. In fact, I received benefits yesterday because of
Right.
it. So it all began with the idea of Robert Kiyosaki and starting businesses, little side businesses. 1 yard led to 76 yards and a landscaping business, and that was by accident. And it really was by accident. And then one driveway led to, 50 plus driveways through, redoing driveways. And again, it wasn't me doing the work. It was just kind of that entrepreneurial background of, hey, I bet we can figure out kids that want to make some money. And I just have to be smart and try to find business and market the right way. And so that turned into a little bit of cash reserves, and then that turned into, we should probably get some real estate. And I was a private school teacher at the time. This is in 2007, 2008, and making pennies. But I had some
Really?
funds to where it's like, hey, we should probably get into real estate with the income from the landscaping business.
Mm.
And it wasn't a ton, but it was some. And lo and behold, 2008 happened. I didn't even know because I was broke anyway. So I didn't know the country was in a, near depression after 2008. And so I just started looking at properties and found a little duplex in Nashville and found a little triplex right next to it. Actually, we bought the duplex in 2009, June of 2009. And then right after that, 3 months later, the same lady who sold us a duplex wanted to sell her triplex. And so we bought those things, and that kind of started our journey. And I stayed in private education, making pennies on the dollar. And, we had to scrape and grind and, but my wife and I both, we had no kids at the time. My wife and I both said, we're not selling these things. Our vacation were those rentals, and our Starbucks were those rentals. And we really live disciplined because of those rental units, because we just didn't have the extra money. And then one day, once 2012, 13, 14 hit, it just blew up. Nashville just blew up. And then we just slowly began to, make some decisions from there, which we'll get to if I'm trying to answer your first question, how did it all begin? And that's kind of how it all began.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
So talk about bootstrapping this, right? So you're a teacher, private school at this point in time. Maybe you have career aspirations, ambitious, but at the same point in time, you're finding the time to educate yourself about real estate. You happen to buy maybe at the best point in time in either of our lives to buy real estate. Like divine intervention, not everyone's going to have that opportunity, but you had that opportunity. You were there. I like to say that if you're guerrilla networking, if you're constantly shaking hands, you might meet the right person. But if you're not doing that, you got no shot. So
Yeah.
you were out there finding the time away from your busy career, and then also this is actually something that I haven't talked about on the podcast at all, but having a spouse who's supportive of, let's like not go on the vacation. Let's not eat out, however many times a month or a week, and live kind of like live like we're broke, you know? And so the reality is that I know personally right now, I know some real estate investors with millions in assets, plenty of homes, who are still living like they're broke because, you know, time markets can change, uh, people might have varying cash reserves, and some people just put it all into the game, into real estate. So I can definitely relate to that sentiment. So at that point in time, you have your duplexes and you're working and you're seeing proof of concept. 2012 comes around. These properties probably double or triple in value. And you're thinking, wow, I'm going to sell these things. I'm going to hold on to them. I'm going to buy some more. What's going through your mind at that point in time?
Yeah, we definitely stayed broke on purpose. So our thought process, so single income family, my wife was a stay-at-home mother and loved every bit of it. Now, being a stay-at-home mother, she was able to she doesn't really um she doesn't really love real estate. She didn't then, but she didn't hate it either. She just supported it.
Yeah.
And she didn't really understand, okay, we're not really making a lot of money from these things, so why do we have them? She didn't understand yet, neither did I, frankly, the idea of appreciation. She didn't understand yet the idea of, well, we're not paying the mortgage, our renters are. And then the idea of the tax benefits. She really didn't grasp that because again, we were just young at the time. We were babies. So, uh, but we just kind of worked together and we kind of, figured it out together through some of the challenges. And one year we were audited and it cost us a fortune. We still remember the name of the auditor. That's how fresh a memory that is. Because it was an eye-opening experience of, oh man, we actually have some businesses that we didn't claim the right way, and but we learned from that, and now we have a lot more than what we had then. And we realized that, oh, you got to have CPAs and you got to have a team of people that help you with this. So, like you said, you do have to network quite a bit, but you don't have to really work hard on that. It's just the people that you interact with. And I've just been blessed to interact with some pretty amazing people. And none of our stuff, we do have some that we team up with, but for the most part, our stuff is our stuff. It's not in a partnership in any way. And that kind of led to, like you said, in 2012 and 13. So we bought these places, both of them, for 300,000 combined. So a duplex and a triplex combined for 300,000. So five doors basically. And then, and in 2018, we sold them, and we sold them for about 850,000. And when we
Holy
sold them,
smokes.
yeah, when we were sold them, I mean, we had a lot. We put a lot down for those places. When I say a lot, I mean we put about $25,000 for each place. Today
Yeah.
that doesn't seem like a lot, but back then it was. I mean,
A
again,
farm.
that $25,000 was a car that we
Yeah.
didn't have. But we made the choice of, no, this is our legacy. This is what we're going to do. And then we took the funds from that in 2018, and we 1031 exchanged them into an apartment complex. And then the rest is history. Every year since then, we're picking something up. And usually now, anyway, it's a lot bigger than it was, back in 2008 and 2009. So, if I could give any thoughts there is a lot of luck that's out there. We feel that God's blessing has been put on us. We really feel that way. We could not have done it without, some of that
Yeah.
divine intervention that you talked about
Preach.
earlier. But with that being said, we also feel that we set ourselves up to be ready for when the time comes for a
Comes.
deal.
Yeah.
And we're always looking for deal right now. In fact, right now are the best times to find really good deals.
They are.
I don't care what anybody says about the interest rates. You can get good deals right now, and that's what we're doing. We're actively pursuing. We have I don't know if your audience knows Michael Zuber, but we have
Heard the
one
name.
rental at a time. I'm a big fan of Michael Zuber, and we have our buy box. We're looking at our buy box. We're making offers all the time. Most of our offers are what he calls disrespectful. I call smart. He calls it disrespectful. So
Well, you know what it is, Jason,
we,
is
yeah.
I'm an agent myself in Texas, in Dallas, newly licensed. I'm a wholesaler too. I was a wholesaler before I was an agent for 2 years, and I feel and I see and I sense when I'm talking with the realtors that they don't like that I was a wholesaler, and they might not say it to my face, but some of them do. And when you're making, like you said, disrespectfully low offers, which is what I did and what still do if I'm representing certain buyers, especially in Texas, but I think anywhere, agents are required to present these offers to their seller unless the seller has it in writing, like, we're not looking at anything below X. And so as a seller, like, if I'm getting I used to almost feel badly, like, oh, we're making these offers. As a seller, I want to know that my agent's working. I want to know that I'm getting some offers in, right? And so if it's crickets and the home's been on the market for 100 days and I get an offer, if it's a home, like this is an example of something that just went down in Austin from an investor that I work with. Home was listed for like $330,000. He got it under contract for 200, like 30, $100,000 less. And these things can happen if you're making, 100 offers. So
Yeah.
I'm all on board for
Yeah.
making some low offers.
Yeah. And obviously, the offers usually are best when you look at days on market. They're usually best when you look at, how much activity has been around the place, how much TLC it's gotten. And that's usually how we're just constantly hunting. And so all the stuff we own is out of state. I don't, the only thing, we don't own any of our personal property inside of Washington. It's all in other states. So we're out of state investors and we see our stuff maybe once a year, if that. And that's worked for us. And I've heard horror stories about that, but we have never had a single issue with anything. Obviously, we have to fix the toilet sometimes, do all that stuff, but for the most part, it's been we don't look at it as you've got to find real estate. We look at it as you got to find cash flow. And if
Yeah.
you find cash flow, it may not be in your backyard. It may be in another state. And so we're always looking for cash flow and we're always looking for what we call disposable income. So it's not how much income you make, it's how much disposable income you have. And so we don't buy crap, we don't buy cars, we don't buy all that stuff. We put it all in a tank and we stay broke. We go out and we spend it on real estate and I don't know if you know who Grant Cardone is, but Grant
Yeah.
Cardone is someone who says stay broke. And I know he's got a lot of fans, but he's got a lot of haters. I'm a fan, and we try
Me
to
too.
follow his advice of live off 20% of your funds and stay broke and invest in assets, and that's worked out well for us.
What really opened my eyes, Jason, was I got a passport 2 years ago, and it completely blew my mind when I was going to the places that I was traveling to. And specifically when I traveled to Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, I went by myself. And at that point in time, I'm 31 now. I think I was 28 years old when I went. And in my mind, I was thinking, as an American, in order to be anybody, I needed to have a luxury car and I needed to be having the nicest clothes, and that if I didn't have either of those, literally if I showed up, this is how small-minded I was, Jason. If I showed up to the gym and didn't have in Dylan's mind the freshest fit, that how was I going to make a friend? So I go to Santo Domingo and I'm seeing people driving cars that look like they've literally been like exploded, like a carcass of a car. I'm seeing no laws on the roads, like oncoming traffic 50 miles an hour. I'm seeing people living in this island with no drinkable water, no AC, and Jason, they were happier than me and happy. And so they had friends, they had food, and I just fell in love with that culture. And so I came back and my mind was like blown. And so really I was in real estate at the time, but then I had a shift and I realized all these things that I valued as who I was. Like, I had the car, boom, boom, I have clothes, I have this nice apartment. I'm now realizing like that was just like foolish. Like what was I even thinking? What was I doing? So somehow through the Grant Cardones, through the Dave Ramseys, through your own personal experiences, you were able to come to that realization that took me, leaving the country to figure out.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. None of this is new. There's nothing new under the sun. It's learning through people like Ramsey and Zuber and Cardone and Brandon Dawson and and all the other authors that are out there, and then really helping with people you come in contact with that are smarter than you, and there are a lot of people smarter than me, and just having those conversations and say, hey, tell me a little bit about that, and even thinking about, okay, can I kind of delve in that particular direction, and in adjusting and adapting to each of the markets.
Yeah.
2020 was a lot different in making an offer than in 2025 with these higher interest rates. So when it comes down to it, I think being able to pivot and adapt and continue to reinvest in yourself is extremely important for real estate.
Jason, I'd love to get your perspective, just high level, broad strokes, for someone who loves their W-2 job, right? And you hear a lot of people talking about maybe not loving it. Well, someone like yourself has the blessing to love their job, right? But they want to invest in real estate. And frankly, there's people like this out there, but on the social media and just people's attention, it seems like that isn't as glorified as the people who leave completely to go and do real estate. What would be your general advice to someone who maybe doesn't have it in their blood, it's not in their family, they don't know if they can be successful at it? What's life look like as you're starting out, and then also connecting the dots to today as someone who's maintained a career while also being active in real estate?
Yeah. Well, first, daily discipline to invest in yourself, but then, getting more practical. Let's just use you for example at your age, and let's rewind it 5 years, and let's just say you have a young wife as well. And in my mind, if you were able to house hack, or you were able to buy a duplex and live there, so you can only put 5% down or around that. Um, and then every 2 or 3 years do it again, and then every 3 years do it again. That is the fastest way. I think it's not, the best way to get rich quick is to get rich slow. We know that. So it's not fast, but it's faster than saving up and paying cash for a particular home. The reason I like that is because once you have a family, it's very difficult to do that unless you just
Oh,
buy a duplex and lives on the other side. But house hacking for someone like your age or someone younger is really something to look into. Getting into renting out a bedroom or two. You can get in there, put 5% down, have someone else float the mortgage, and just keep doing that. And it takes, in my opinion, it takes about 10 years. That's again, I'm copycatting someone else. Zuber, I think, says that. After about 10 years, you've got all this appreciation working for you. You've got all these tax benefits working for you, and you're starting to receive some real income from your doors. So if you're making $150, $200 per door, well, now all of a sudden things are looking up for you. And so that would be my biggest advice. The second piece of advice is from your daytime job, look to increase your disposable income. You get a raise every year most of the time, and it may be small, but if you live on where you are right now, and then every year you get a raise, that's your disposable income. You just stock it, just stack it up. And when you stack that up, eventually you'll be able to live on your income, which is down here. But over time, the raises have gotten you to here, or the promotions have gotten you to here. Well, now you've got this gap that you could use as disposable income. So my wife and I, we don't look at ourselves as, man, we make a lot of income. We look at ourselves as, okay, we've created a lot of income
Yeah.
from our disposable income based on how we live. And we don't drive junk, not anymore. We drive nice, but we're not going to go out and get the Tesla truck, and we're not going to do that stuff. And the reason is because disposable income allows us to do more assets, things that create income. I think sometimes a lot of people buy assets, but they don't realize that if that asset is not putting money in your pocket, it's not an asset. Until you sell it, then you might make it and make some money then. But to me, we're always looking to buy and create cash flow immediately
Yeah.
and we're going to buy with that disposable income. So young couples, I tell them that all the time, or younger people, or even our age where kids are gone and it's just you and your wife or you and your spouse, and you can house hack and create that income pretty fast. That would be my biggest piece of advice.
Amen. That is a strong testimony, honestly. Going from starting out, buying a home in the crash, quite literally, to then seeing it double, almost triple in value in a handful of years, scale to today, talking about doing it remotely without physically being there in person. You mentioned most of these, or all of them, are outside of the area, while having a career, scaling to the height of that career. Incredible, incredible. My hat goes off to you, Jason. We are coming up on time here. Um,
Yeah.
where can folks go to get a hold of you?
Do I want people to get a hold of well, I mean, they certainly can email me. My email is Jason Tindol, spelled like it is on the screen there, at K as in kite, WCS.org. I'm on Facebook, Jason Tindall, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, all the different social media outlets. I don't have a business website. I have a school website, but it's not mine; it's the school's. But they can certainly look me up through our school, Kingsway Christian Schools, and so I'm always interested in talking real estate and helping as much as I can. I'm not like you, Dylan, where you can spend more time with some folks, and so I can't really commit to that as much. Uh, but I'm happy to answer any questions or help anyone that I can, especially if they're in a similar situation as I am. If they're in Christian education, I'm all about that. So if you have someone that in Christian education, I can really help those folks for sure. I can make time for that, but otherwise, happy to answer emails and things like that.
Jason, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for time. Thank you for giving us your story and for providing some great value today. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. Take care, man.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.